Hello, Southern California, and welcome to this week's edition of Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley, and I'm joined by Tom. He is the founder and president of Mosley Wealth Management. Tom, my friend, how are you this week?
I'm doing great. It's not just good, but it's fun to be on the set with you and to share stories and to talk. So glad to see you every week.
Thank you. I look forward to this as well. And you've put together another fabulous show for all of you at home today. We are going to be talking about a word that often gets, let's see, a bad reputation. That's a good way to put it, right? So let's just go ahead and get it out in the open. We're going to be talking about the A word today, which of course is
annuities.
Annuities. All right. And there's so much to get into. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of misconceptions. And so we need to talk about all this, and we need to help understand, you know, what we need to know about annuities, because for a lot of folks, I mean, annuity sales alone in 2023 have skyrocketed, and there's good reason for that. But you and I both know that not all annuities are created equal. So let's just get into it. We need to talk about first why they get such a bad rap, and you know what we need to, the starting point for all of us to be on the same page.
Annuities get a bad rap sometimes, Kristin, because, you know, and I always say, look, if you don't like the word annuities, let's call them bookies, okay? Let's just rename them and forget about the word annuities, because, you know, there's some people that have all of these endorphins that go off that are just negative, and they just don't like the word annuities. In fact, there's one guy who's made himself a billionaire by saying, I hate annuities. But, you know, sometimes he's bought into the annuity companies, you know, and we found out in his history. But here's the point. And then you don't look at what it's called. Call it a bookie if you need to, but look at what it can do for you. Now, when it comes to annuities, they are I will admit, a complex financial mechanism. You have to know what you're getting into. You can be easily deceived, and I'll tell you very honestly, people are easily deceived. It's not uncommon for scores of people to come into our office in just a period of a month, and they bring their annuities that they've been sold, and they don't have the slightest idea about whether it's what kind of annuity it is. They don't know how it will pay out. They don't know the fees that they're paying in some of them.
Which is so critical.
Which is sometimes, Kristin, when we do the analysis and we just send it off to a neutral rating agency, and they do an analysis on that annuity, and they'll show you that you're paying 5 1/4, 5.4% fees on some of those annuities. And so they don't understand that annuities are like, okay, you would say, well, I don't like cars. Well, why don't you like cars? Well, I had this real expensive one time, and I didn't understand how to work the dashboard and the panels and all those things, and so I couldn't work it, so I just went, okay, an annuity is the same way. You can get some that are very basic, that do the job, that are doing what you want them to do, and you can get some real intricate, elaborate ones. But the key thing is, you have to have enough trust in the person that you're dealing with that they're going to sell you an annuity that fits what you need. And so that's the key when it comes to annuities, making sure that you understand what you're getting into.
For sure.
Investment News recently said that 36%, so you can't discount them. Investment News said 36% of all financial plans that are put together by professionals include the use of an annuity because it's in the best interest of the client.
It's so one of the financial tools that are available, right?
It's like saying, I've got this complete toolbox. I've got everything but a hammer. You know, so what are you going to need when you need to drive a nail? Now, if you need to screw something in, you need a screwdriver, not the hammer. But if you need the annuity, you don't need to be working with somebody who says, we're not even going to consider that for you, because what they've really done, if you think about it, they've already made a decision for you that they're not going to introduce you to something that might be a perfect fit for you in your plan. Could be working against you.
Absolutely. Well, I think the industry hasn't done itself any favors in that there are different ways that people are compensated, and I think sometimes the whole commission-based thing, that's the other reason why annuities get a bad rap, right, is the way that structure's been set up. And not that there's anything wrong with people getting paid for the job they're doing, but the problem comes when an annuity is maybe told to someone that this is what they need to be doing when it's not in fact in their best interest. And so because you're a fiduciary, that's the other difference, is you're able to look at all the tools available and you're independent, and if one is in someone's best interest, you're going to be able to tell them that and be completely transparent on what that involves for them.
Well, something really important is if you are getting involved in an annuity, there is a form that the government came out about 3 years ago. It's called a PT 8424, and you are required to be told exactly what fees you're going to be paying out of your annuity. You're required to be told what commission that person is paying. And you know the only negative, can you believe this? They put a form that's required, and we have to have you sign it. We do every single one at Mosley Wealth Management, but there's some people who don't do it because you don't have to turn it in yet.
Oh,
you just are supposed to keep it on hand for 10 years. So I think it's a little bit crazy, a lot of lobbying, you know, and stuff like that. But you need to be working with somebody who's going to be honest with you about what's going on.
Right. Well, I mentioned earlier that annuity sales have skyrocketed. What is the number of 2023 so far that annuity sales have done?
Well, I just checked, and a couple of weeks ago, the number was around $182 billion has gone into annuities in just this year. And I just checked again, it's gone over $192 billion as of now.
Wow.
And a lot of people see a very good time at the end of the year to say, let me get my ducks in a row, let me get my act together before the new year starts. And so annuity sales generally planning usually crescendos toward the end of the year. So it's massive, it's big.
Well, especially in the wake of what happened in 2022, I think people realized, oh, I'm not as safe as I might have thought I've been in bonds, right? That was a huge wake-up call, and so that's why we've maybe seen a surge now in annuity sales.
Well, you know, let's talk about the market. You know, from 2009, where the Dow Jones hit around 6,300 on one day, all the way up to 2021, we had 13 years of growth. So when you have 13 years of massive growth in the stock market, from the Dow Jones going from 6,300 to at one point it was over $36,000, you know, why do I need to protect my principal? Why do I need to have guarantees that I'm not going to lose money in a portion of my portfolio? I can just live off the growth. We're always going to have growth. And let's start singing Kumbaya, and you know, let's put a sign up that we're living in Shangri-La. The market goes up, the market goes down. Blessed be the name of the market. It's going to go up and down. So you have to build a plan. You know, my roof is fine when it's sunshiny.
Yes.
But when a storm comes, that's not the time to run out and say, oh, I should have fixed the roof. You need to have a plan to fix the roof when the sun is shining, so that no matter what comes, whether it's rain, whether it's snow, no matter what it is, whether it's an up year in the market, whether it's 13 more years of up in the market, you have a plan that you can be content over. And that's why it's important that you work with somebody and you don't just, you know, throw your money out there, keep it where it's always been, hope it's always going to go up, hope it's always going to be a positive in the market. Because when you get into retirement, you need to be able to sleep at night. That's the whole thing right there. You need to have my friend Dave Bach, who's a New York Times best-selling author, Dave always says you need a plan that you can sleep with. You know, you don't need you need a boring portfolio is the exact words he uses when he comes to it. So if you want a boring portfolio that you can enjoy your retirement as opposed to having to get up every day and watch the market, you need to consider working with us, because we will consider annuities. 18% of all the assets that we collected so far this year have gone into annuities. So we're not annuity pushers. We don't have a quota that we're looking for. We want to build a plan for you that fits your life, that fits your retirement. And if you need an income gap, that's where we come in with the annuity. So, hey, reach out, get on our schedule. We have 6 advisors, 5 different locations all over Southern California. We can sit down with you and see if a 𝐴𝒒𝒈𝒈 is for you. If you don't like the word annuities, or if you really want to use the real word, then we'll call them annuities.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Tom, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call to get your own complimentary retirement blueprint, it's there on the bottom of your screen. Simply call 866-709-1462. You're also welcome to take out your smartphone, and you can simply open up that camera app, just point it right there at that QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and a member of the team from Mosley Wealth Management will reach out to you and schedule your complimentary meeting that way as well. When we come back, we're going to dive into the different types of annuities out there. As we've said, not all annuities are created equal. We're going to discuss, could one potentially be right for you? Stay with us.
My company now, we're up to 12 people, and we have 6 advisors and 6 support staff. Our main office is right across the street from Anaheim Stadium in Anaheim, right above the Partners Credit Union. We're on the 2nd floor above that, but we have a satellite office now in Glendale, north of downtown LA. Out east, we're in Chino, and then down in San Diego, we have a really quickly growing office down in Scripps Ranch. We're still a little bit like mom and pop. We don't just like our staff and our employees. We love them. We have lunch together. I bring in lunch on Mondays, and we spend about an hour just talking about the weekend and talking about life with all 12 of us that are there. There's some businesses where everybody pulls together and where everybody pulls their own way. It's definite in our company that everybody pulls together. We care about each other. It blesses my heart to see a couple of my new advisors come in on a Monday, and they're talking about the fact that they took their wives out together, the 4 of them, and went out for dinner on a Saturday night. In fact, one noted person told me recently, he said the chances that somebody would start a business and in your area and get to where you guys are at Mosley Wealth Management is about probably 1 in 50,000 because of the success we've had and the focus we've had on working with people to make sure they don't run out of money.
Welcome back to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley. And Tom, I have to say, I love that commercial. I love getting to hear a little bit more about your story and having the viewers get to know a little bit more about you. But I would love for you to go a little more deeply into why, what was it that really motivated you to get into this business in the first place? Because it relates to what we're talking about today.
Well, I mentioned it briefly on some of the commercials that we use on here. I was in the ministry for 19 years. I graduated from Dallas Seminary in 1990 and was in the ministry as a pastor. But before that, I had been in youth ministry. And on a church staff, they're always tagging you with other responsibilities other than just being a youth minister. And one of the things they always told me, and that we want you to do, Tom, is we want you to be in charge of benevolence. And benevolence is obviously when somebody either in the church or in the community comes and needs money. I have so many times had people stand across from my desk, and they came in for benevolence, and they were trying to decide whether to buy food or buy medicine. Wow. I remember one particular couple came in, and he was in tears because she had had a diagnosis that her medical coverage would not cover. And he said, we can't afford to eat and also buy this medicine. Wow. So when I got into this industry, June the 8th, 1995, I sat down with 2 managers, Bruce and Jim, and I sat down with them, and they said, Tom, who do you want to work with? And I said, this, mind you, this is 1995, and I said, I want to work with retirees to make sure they never run out of income. You would have thought, Kristin, that I had said some kind of foreign language, because they were like, what? Because they were thinking, do you want to work with doctors or lawyers or pharmacists or some kind of professional who has lots of money? And think about it, the leading edge of baby boomers were just turning 50 in 1995.
And the retirement landscape was changing so much, but people weren't aware of it yet, right?
There wasn't a retirement seminar to go to every night of the week, and there weren't all these, quote, retirement specialists that are running around who aren't really retirement specialists. They're just specialists in taking your money and trying to make money for you, which is a good thing. But when you get to retirement, there's a different landscape. It's your income that's important, not your lump sum.
Right.
Now let's bring that in to annuities.
Yes.
What an annuity can do for you is give you guaranteed increasing income for as long as you live, and then if you are married, as long as your spouse lives, and get a load of this, even after you run out of your money. If you go down to the big box firms and you've gotten your IRA down to 0 and you're 81 years old, and you go meet with this person, you sit down with them and you say, hi, I'm Tom, I've been with you guys for 20 years, you've been helping me have this great retirement, and I'm out of money. I don't have any money in my IRA or my 401k that we rolled over or in all my accounts. I'm down to 0. the person's going to say, hold just a minute, let me go talk to someone. And they're going to go, hello, Anaheim Police Department? We've got somebody who's crazy here, because you don't get any more money if you've got just in a regular account all of your money. If it's all in the market. Pardon?
Gone. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Once it's to zero, it's to zero. That's why an annuity might fit for you. Let me go over it again. It will give you guaranteed by the largest and strongest financial institutions in the world, okay? It will give you increasing, the way we build ours for people who are needing income in retirement, it will give you increasing income for the rest of your life. And then that'll last as long as you do. And then we can also put it where it's on 2 lives, so that the spouse continues with your same payout for as long as they live. And then you say, well, what if I run out of money in there like you just told? You still get an increasing amount of money every single year as long as you live. It's a guarantee. You say, that's like a pension. Hey, welcome. That's why annuities sort of went down, because people had pensions in their popularity, and now they're roaring back. Like we said, over $190 billion has gone into fixed indexed annuities, and that's what we're describing. Now, there's some other kinds. If you need something like a CD, there's what's called a MYGA, M-Y-G-A. I don't want to get technical, but that's like a CD on steroids, I call it. Because you get a lot, you get more than you generally are going to get at a bank from a CD, again, from strong financial institutions. There's what, they have funny names. They have SPIA. It stands for Single Premium Immediate Annuity. If you want to turn one on immediately, you can turn it on right off the bat and start getting a payout immediately. They have variable annuities, but I don't want to make my face give this away. I don't like the variable annuities.
I don't either.
A lot of people, there's been a big book written by a famous lady who's on, you know, all the time talking about retirement. She's not a retirement advisor anymore. She's not legal, but you know, she'll get on and give you information. And on page 522 in her big book, she says, if anybody ever offers you a variable annuity, you need to pack up your stuff and leave, because they're in it for themselves. But that's the ones that have the very, very high fees. We like to use the fixed indexed annuity, and we like to work with those because they're fixed and that you're never going to go backwards in what you have. They're indexed, they're tied to a market gain, so when the market goes up, you get part of it.
Right.
But when the market goes down, it's principal protected. You don't go down. So how can they do that? You don't get all of the gain when the market goes up, but you get none of the loss when the market goes down.
And protecting from those big losses, that's what makes such a huge difference for folks in generating income for themselves in retirement.
If you lose 50%, which we've done twice since the year 2000 in the market, it takes a 100% gain to get back the 50. You do the math and you'll see that
It's that percentage math. That's what gets you, right?
It is. No, I mean, let's take the 3 years. You want to average 10%? Okay, that's how, oh yeah, I want to average 10%. Well, you make 50 one year, lose 50 the next year, and make 30 the next year percent, then you're averaging 10%. But if you had $100,000, watch this, it would grow to $150,000. The next year when you lost 50%, it would go down to $75,000. Check me out. And then the next year when you grew 30%, you grew back to $97,500. Aren't you happy with your 10% average gain? Yeah, throw it out the window. It's the losses that can kill you in retirement. And that's why it's so important. Does it fit for you? I don't know. I don't know. We have no idea. We're not recommending a fixed indexed annuity for you, okay? We're not recommending any product for you. We wouldn't do that. We couldn't do that. If you come to one of our events, you can go to our website, Mosley Wealth Management, see all of the events. We can't talk to you about your personal situation at any of those events because of where we have them in public forums. But what we can do is you can pick up the phone and you can call us and you can set up an appointment with one of our advisors, and we can look at your whole entire situation. You may have enough income. If you don't, we can look at maybe putting in place a fixed indexed annuity. You know, there's some other things you can use that for. When a husband and wife, when one of them passes away and they lose the lower Social Security, that fixed indexed annuity might be used to
fill that
replace
income gap, right?
When you go into a nursing home, the fixed indexed annuities that we use have an income doubler. If there are 2 of the activities of daily living you can't do, it'll start paying out not what it's normally supposed to pay out, but double. That's the insurance side of it. And then if you don't need it, don't use it, you can pass that on with an enhanced death benefit to your kids. So there are lots of bells and whistles. Is it for you? I don't know. You have to pick up the phone and call, meet with one of our advisors. We give it as part of a retirement blueprint. We will recommend. You say, do you have to do it? No, you don't have to do anything. We give you options. You choose because it's your retirement blueprint. It's your plan.
Wonderful, Tom. Thank you so much. To our viewers at home, the only way you're going to be able to find out if an annuity could possibly be right for you is by getting that individualized, personalized advice from a fiduciary who has your best interest in mind. And that's what Tom and his team at Mosley Wealth Management do day in and day out. They would love to help and serve you. Call that number on the bottom of your screen, 866-709-1462, or you can scan that QR code and that will get connected that way as well. We have more to cover. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there or be square. Happy birthday to you. As you can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back. You're watching Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley, and we are having a lively discussion today about all things annuities. And Tom, I'm so grateful that you've been taking the time to really explain the different kinds, the different types. The reality is that not all annuities are equal, and they, for some people, it could be a very important piece of their overall financial plan. And of course, that's what we're seeing right now with annuity sales skyrocketing. How do you help someone determine how much of their assets should be placed into something like a fixed indexed annuity?
Okay. Let me start by telling you a story. I know that's surprising.
Well, we'd love story time with Tom.
we have people come into our office who, believe it or not, most of the people who come into our office have worked with other advisors. And recently I had someone come into the office and we looked at their situation, and 2 years ago, they had put 50% of their money into an annuity and 50% into, kept it in the market and invested it in the market. So I asked this lady, I said, Gloria, I said, why did you do 50-50? And she told me words that you really need to let ring in your ears. She said, I don't know. The person I'm working with told me that's what he likes to do. Okay, so if that's an alarm bell that should go off. Okay, you need to determine the proper amount for you to have go into an annuity. Now, I've told you in a previous segment, you may not need an annuity. Okay, you may not need an annuity and want one anyway because you say, well, this is guaranteed principal protected, it'll never go down in the market, and you may want to take a little portion of your assets and move 20%, 25% and say that's principal protected, that's never going to go down. Let me give you one more. You may not be able to afford an annuity. If you don't have a certain amount of money, for any advisor to take a large portion of your money and to tie it up into annuity because that's what he likes to do, then you're dealing with somebody you shouldn't be dealing with. You're dealing with somebody who's doing what he likes to do rather than what you like to do and what's in your best interest. So how do you determine what you need, especially if you're using a fixed indexed annuity? Well, here's how you determine. And this is what we do. This is the process when we sit down with somebody to develop the free retirement blueprint that we offer to people who watch this program. You call in, you get on our calendar, you gather all your stuff, you come in, you sit down with one of our advisors, and the very first thing out of the box that we'll begin to do after we just get some general information about who you are, on page 2 of our fact finder, we go in and we say, how much income do you have coming in retirement? You're going to have a social. If you're married, there's going to be another Social Security likely. If you have a pension, okay, so we add up, maybe you'll have rental properties. I have rental properties, okay? A lot of my clients like the fact that I have rental properties because I talk the same language with them and I understand the landscape of it. So we add all of that together and we say, is there an income gap? Now, if there's an income gap, there's several ways to fill it, but a fixed indexed annuity will take the risk out of it. Because what you do is you put enough money into that fixed indexed annuity that it's going to generate a certain amount starting whenever you need it. And how long do you need it? Do you need it? How long until you need it? Do you need it in 3 years, 4 years? When do you need it to start?
Right. That's a key
That's
factor.
how we that's how we determine the amount. And we put that in there, and then that's guaranteed, remember, increasing. So that'll take care of the aspect of inflation, and it will last as long as you do, and it won't go away when you do if you're married, because you can pass that to your spouse even after you run out of money. So that's how we determine how much to put in, and that's why we have to say, we don't know what you have. You know what? I have a lot of people come in until they start working with us, Kristin, they don't know what they have.
That's so true. I find that as well. A lot of people, they have no idea, and that can be really overwhelming and not knowing where your money is, but that is such a crucial step, and I know you help folks. If they don't know, you help them figure it out, right?
Well, we help them just by saying, gather your assets and bring us a statement on everything that you've got. I've had people come in and they've said, I had a 401k I didn't even know I had. I found it. It's got $43,000. Is that important? You know, no, give it to my kids. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it's important. It's very important that you know how much money you have. And so just gathering your assets is important, but then building that retirement blueprint, we start with a blank piece of paper. At the end, we will give you a written plan in your hand with your situation and your numbers in it. But I can't reach through the television screen and grab you and say, here, come in. You've got to call us.
Absolutely. Well, I know that you look forward to meeting with all the folks that are going to call in from this week's show. And Tom, it's great to be with you. To our viewers, thank you so much for watching. That number to call to get your own complimentary retirement blueprint, 866-709-1462, or scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. We appreciate you watching. Again, what's right for you might not necessarily be what's right for the person next to you. It's time to get a personalized, individualized financial plan in place, and Tom and the team would love to help you do that. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We'll see you next time.